The Facebook Oversight Board has ruled to uphold the social media giant's ban of former President Trump from the platform. The ruling comes almost 5 months to the day of the January 6th attacks on the U.S. Capitol in Washington. The board released a statement saying, quote, "The board has upheld Facebook's decision on January 7th, 2021 to restrict then-President Donald Trump's access to posting content on his Facebook page and Instagram account. However, it was not appropriate for Facebook to impose the indeterminate and standardless penalty of indefinite suspension." The board went on to say it, quote, "insists Facebook review this matter to determine and justify a proportionate response consistent with the rules applied to other users of its platform. Facebook must complete its review of this matter within 6 months of the date of this decision." The social media company acted swiftly following the deadly assault on the halls of Congress. Just 1 day after the attacks, Facebook banned the then president from its platform. The company said the move was an effort to de-escalate the violence occurring across the country. CBS News' Natalie Brand has more on the ruling.
Facebook's independent oversight board has upheld the social media giant's decision to suspend former President Trump's access to Facebook and Instagram following the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. But the board went on to say it was not appropriate for Facebook to impose the indeterminate and standardless penalty of indefinite suspension, telling Facebook to review the matter within 6 months.
It must either restore Mr. Trump's account, finding that the period of suspension has met its purpose, make the suspension permanent, or suspend the account for a determinate period of time.
The decision was handed down by a group sometimes referred to as Facebook's Supreme Court, made up of human rights lawyers, constitutional law experts, a Nobel Prize winner, and even the former president of Denmark.
The board was created to give the public some trust that an independent group was making these crucial decisions.
During the Capitol riot, former President Trump posted a social media video telling his supporters to leave, but also repeating false election claims.
We have to have peace. So go home. We love you. You're very special.
The independent board agreed that the former president violated Facebook's rules prohibiting praise or support of people engaged in violence and created an environment at risk by continuing claims of election fraud. In a statement, Facebook says it will determine an action that is clear and proportionate, but will continue to block Mr. Trump from posting for the time being. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Joining me for more on this is CBSN technology reporter Dan Patterson. Hi, Dan. Great to see you. How significant is Facebook Oversight Board's decision today? As you know, the board is giving Facebook 6 months to review the suspension and come to terms on a more definitive plan.
It kind of depends on who you ask, Tanya. This is no doubt a big decision, especially if you're Facebook. Look, it allows them to kind of retry this decision. It gives them an additional 6 months to write very specific rules. But critics of this decision are already calling it useless, saying that that very punt, giving Facebook another 6 months to write very specific rules, is kind of a cop-out. And so critics have called this a useless decision.
Useless. That's a pretty harsh criticism. How might today's decision impact Facebook regulation in the future, and what precedent does today's ruling set for other, world leaders who are known to use the platform and not always abide by its, projected terms?
Yeah, so the Oversight Board says that there have to be limits to harmful speech, but we don't want to give dictators a reason to use this decision to censor or limit speech in their own country. So that kind of gives you a sense on how this might be used as a precedent, even if it's not enforced broadly, or if it doesn't set an additional set of rules or policies. this has the eyes of the world on it, or this decision has the eyes of the world on it. Other leaders, and particularly leaders in the same mold as President Trump, are going to use this decision and weigh their use of Facebook around it.
And so what do we expect the former president to do now that the ruling has been upheld, Dan? He has previously said that he might launch his own social network. We hear he's launching a blog. How is he likely to respond to this?
Yeah, so former President Trump has responded. He made a short post on his website. And yeah, he has a few options. One, you mentioned that he started something that looks like a blog. It's not actually a blog because it doesn't have RSS or XML, the syndication languages that are a part of a blog. But it looks and feels like a blog with press releases, and there's some video on there. He has also indicated that he would start a social network that his surrogates have said would host tens of millions of people. We have seen no evidence of this, but it's an option that's on the table for him. And he could continue to appeal. No doubt this decision will be watched, or is being watched, by Twitter and by YouTube, who the former president has also called out, and who have instituted similar bans. So I think the entire social media world is going to watch this, and the entire political world is going to watch this. It is going to be something that everyone uses as some sort of template going forward.
Yeah, and we will be watching it as well. Dan Patterson, thank you as always.